Welcome to my forest bath. I've gotten back to this practice after realizing I had neglected it, and it's a really different energy to be in the stillness of the trees versus on the beach where there's the constant motion of the waves and the water. And I definitely get to a different place of contemplation when I come here and sit. And what I was noticing as I walked and sat is that I'm in this amazing time right now of incredible chaos as well as incredible taking stock and inventory of all of my work, all of my life, all of the stories I've been telling about my work and about my life. And I am engaged in these amazing interactions, one-on-one and in smaller groups, where I get to grow and move through things that have sat stagnant for many years, perhaps generations. So one of the things that has come into my review process is looking at my coaching and who I've had the privilege and honor to be with. And since I have a small practice, I remember every single client. And when I think about the long-term clients I've had, they have been men. People identify themselves as men. And that's interesting because when I speak about my work to other people in the ways that I've been trained to speak about it from marketing experts, it always comes across as perfect for women. Women really need this. And I never know really what to do with it because I've never felt resonant with designing programs specifically for women. I've always kept it very open and non-specific regarding the gender, and I was attracted to who I've attracted, and my groups have always been mixed, and my individual coaching clients have been mixed, but mostly men, to be really to be honest about it. And I was also reading something that one of my long-term clients, who's a man, was sharing with me about his growth over the last 5 years, where I had coached him for about a year 5 years ago, and then also earlier this year for about 6 months. And he's able to reflect back to me the changes in my approach to coaching and my toolbox, how it's grown and expanded and changed, and how that has served him on his journey. And that was just really amazing and really an honor to be able to hear that back from someone who I've gotten to know through the lens of our coaching relationship. And I started to ask myself on this walk, why is it that I have resonated with men on their own journeys? And I look at my own past and my life, and I was always groomed from a young age to be a leader. And that is from both the women and the men in my life. I've had mentors who have been women and mentors who have been men, and one of the mantras in our house was that I was to be treated exactly like a boy or equal to a boy. And of course, coming from a patriarchal society and world that we are in, there's a lot of angry women. There's a lot of women who have felt cheated and discriminated against and limited and excluded from opportunities and positions and places. And so the message from that place of feeling that kind of oppression and exclusion is to tell your daughters to be like men or to beat the men. And so I look at my model of leadership, how I was trained to be a leader from a young age, and it was definitely about learning how to dominate and control situations, learning how to step up and volunteer to take the lead and know my abilities in the arena that I was competing in. And I was definitely exposed to a lot of competitive environments. And I've told this story in the past that I only realized how competitive my worlds had been by stepping into a completely supportive, non-competitive place and like feeling it and going, whoa, wow, this is different. And I think that by bringing both of those perspectives, and that's really the story of my life, is that I came from a very heavy training in domination, control, and winning. And I was, in my heart, my nature is not to be a competitor and a machine. So I didn't completely succumb to it. I didn't become the supreme competitor and winner and champion that you see on the athletic fields and in the business world. That wasn't my nature, but I was a good enough and compliant enough student that I picked up the rules of that game, enough of it to know how to even know the fact that it was being played. I'll just say it that way. And to have been steeped in that, and then to also have journeyed out of that and into the realm of connecting with my true nature, learning to receive and to collaborate and to receive the gifts of a group of people, and to also enjoy and celebrate my solitude and to claim my voice, and to learn to listen openly, and to learn how to experience being allowed to have my own experience and tasting the juicy elixir and fruit of that, and then wanting only to give that to others. That's been my journey. And so to have all of that perspective, all I can say is that I have compassion for all of that I've lived and that I've seen and experienced. And I believe that many of the men that have come to me for coaching really are seeking, even if they can't put it into words, a safe place to explore a different way that they might lead in this world, a different way of being. And maybe it's that they've been leaders in that competitive business world their entire careers, and now it's time to retire, and now what? You know, they face the same fears that we all do of being alone and getting older and losing relationships and watching the ones that are closest to them die, and feeling the grief and not knowing how to process that feeling. And when you've lived a life of domination and control and winning, it may be a very difficult moment to confront the reality that none of the spaces in your life that you've occupied allow for you to feel these more difficult and immeasurable feelings, that you just don't have a container for them, and you actually don't have relationships that can handle them and give you the safety and the space that you need to go through them. And this is what I'm living, and I guess I noticed that my life has really been about collecting practices and practicing those that I really feel drawn and curious about, to discover a new way to lead. And this is not about, whenever I read the messages about, becoming big and fabulous and rich and free in that sense of the marketing that we read about what we're supposed to want when we become fabulous. It doesn't resonate, and I really am in this process of finding the words to say what does resonate, and this is one piece of it. It's finding a new way to lead, and we're all leaders. We're all put in positions where we have the opportunity to step up and lead, but we have a very huge gap of models of what it looks like to lead as our authentic selves, with all of our life experience, all of our compassion, all of our lessons learned, and all of the transformations that are required to discover the undeveloped parts of ourselves, the parts that we didn't get as much practice in, or as much exposure to, or as much opportunity to explore. And that's my today's thoughts on what my journey has been about, and perhaps why I have had a consistent stream of men as coaching clients without trying to attract men as clients or women as clients, just putting my story and myself out there. And it's a great process, and I feel just amazed that I get to do it.